All right, so in this video, we want to basically find the value of b so that all of these equations are going to be a perfect square. So if we look at the first three questions here, the b is always in the middle term. So this method is going to be slightly different from later questions, but let's take a look at these three first. So I know if this is a perfect square, I would want to square root my first term, which is just y. And then I want to square root my last term, which is 11. Don't worry about the sign right now. So the perfect square of this could possibly be y plus 11 squared. And I know that to find my middle term, my check, I'm going to multiply this times this times this. So y times 11 is 11y, 11 times y times 2 is just 22y. So I know that the middle term should be 22y, which means b has to be 22. Now, another possibility for a perfect square over here could also be y minus 11 squared, because this will still give me the same answer. It doesn't matter if this sign is a plus or minus, because I could always make b as a negative number as well. And if I basically multiply this times this times this, I'll get negative 22y, which means b can also be negative 22. So in this question, I have two possible answers for b, either positive 22 or negative 22. And anytime b is in the middle term, you will always have two possible answers, a positive and a negative solution. Let's take a look at this second one over here. So the perfect square, if I square root that, it's 2x. And if I square root this, it's 5. I don't worry about the sign in the middle. So I have 2x plus 5 square. 2x times 5 is 10x. 10x times 2 is 20x. So the middle term should either be positive 20x or negative 20x, which means that b is either positive or negative 20. Pretty simple there. And then if we go to part C, it's the exact same thing, should be pretty easy. Square root of the first term is 3n. Square root of the last term is 7p. And then if I multiply this times this, is 21 np times 2, that's 42 np, which means that my b is either plus or minus 42. All right, let's go to these next three questions, which are slightly more difficult now. Now b is in our last term, and in this one, there's actually a b squared, which we'll get to a bit later. But when b is in your last term, what you want to do is you want to take your middle value over here. You want to divide it by 2, and then you want to square it. Okay, so that's the first step. So 10 divided by 2 is just 5 squared, and 5 squared is just 25. Once you get this value over here, you want to divide it by the number in the front. 25 divided by 1 is still 25 in this case. So in this example, b is equal to 25. Now, if you have a plain b at the end, it has to be a positive number. You can never have a negative value for a perfect square at the end over here. My final answer for this is b equals to 25. Let's follow the same method for this one. I'm going to take my term in the middle, negative 90. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. Negative 90 divided by 2 is negative 45. Negative 45 squared, I'll do that in a calculator. That's way too big to be doing mentally. That's 2025. Once you get this value, you want to divide it by the number in the front, which is 81. So 2025 divided by 81 is just 25. So then you will just get, in this case, again, b equals to 25. It's just a coincidence that it's the same answer in these two cases. You can always check your answer as well if you want. I'll show you how to do a quick check over here with this one. So plus 25, this would be my equation. So if I square root these, it'll be 9m minus 5 squared. 9m times -5 is -45m times 2 is -90m. So I know that my solution is correct. Let's go to this last one over here, which is the most difficult one, because I have a b squared over here. Now, because I have a b squared over here, I want to simplify this. I want to actually just rewrite this and replace the b squared with a different letter. I'm just going to replace it with an a. And now I'm going to solve for a, and then I'll use the answer for a to figure out my b value. But this is substitution makes this question a bit easier. So methodology is exactly the same. I want to take the middle term, -88. I want to divide it by 2, and I want to square this. That's just -44 squared. I'll do this in my calculator again. 44 squared is 1936. Then I want to divide it by the number in the front, which is 16. And 1936 divided by 16 is just 121. So I know that A is going to equal to 121 for a perfect square. But I need to figure out B in this original equation. I know that A is just the exact same as B squared. So I can replace this A with a B squared equals to 121. And now I want to isolate for B. So I'm just going to square root. And when you square root 121, remember there's two possible answers for the square root of any number, a positive or a negative number. So in this case, B can be plus or minus 11.